Turkish mystical literature, also called Turkish Sufi literature, begins with the figure of the Sufi. The word Sufi is commonly traced back to Suf, meaning wool. It evokes a life of simplicity, living with little, wearing plain woolen garments and loosening one's ties to the material world. But this simplicity is not just material. A Sufi is someone whose inner world is deeply focused, spiritually alive. In this, letting go of the world is not about emptiness, but about presence, a strong sense of meaning, faith, and devotion. And because the Sufi already feels full inside, there is very little need for excess on the outside. In many Sufi texts, this state is expressed through powerful metaphors. The Sufi is often shown as a person shaped almost entirely by divine love, a love that leaves little room for anything else, and slowly transforms the inner world through devotion and longing. This transformation in Sufi thought happens through ashk, love. The Sufi drawn into the pull of divine love. From the outside, this can seem unconventional, even strange, but within the tradition, the Sufi is seen as a friend of God, someone who chooses love not just as a feeling, but as a way of being. In this podcast series, I will be talking about the literature of these figures. And there's a question I find especially compelling. How does a way of life shape a person so deeply that it gives rise to a literary tradition lasting for centuries? We don't speak of a doctor's literature or a carpenter's literature, yet Sufi literature continues to speak to people far beyond the academy. It seems to touch anyone who begins to search for meaning more deeply. Why is that so? How can a life of such outward simplicity give rise to such rich and lasting poetry? In these recordings, I will read Turkish poems written by Sufis who lived with very little, sometimes with nothing more than a simple woolen garment. Through their words, certain expressions, sounds, and images begin to emerge, marked by striking simplicity and depth. Over time, these poems reveal a quiet strength shaped by deep inner focus. Our first companion on this journey will be Yunus Emre. Here is a short poem by him. Aşkın aldı benden beni, bana seni gerek seni. Ben yanaram dünü günü, bana seni gerek seni. Ne varlığa sevinirim, ne yokluğa yerinirim. Aşkın ile avunurum, bana seni gerek seni. Aşkın aşıklar öldürür, aşk denizine daldırır. Tecelli ile doldurur, bana seni gerek seni. Aşkın şarabından içem, mecnun olup dağa düşem. Sensin dünü gün endişem, bana seni gerek seni. Sufilere sohbet gerek, ahilere ahiret gerek. Mecnunlara Leyla gerek, bana seni gerek seni. Eğer beni öldüreler, külüm göğe savuralar. Toprağım da çağıra, bana seni gerek seni. Yunus durur benim adım. Gün geçtikçe artar odum. İki cihanda maksudum, bana seni gerek seni. These were the words of Yunus Emre. In the next episode, we will stay with him a little longer, listening more closely to the language of love he speaks. May your path be quiet and your journey meaningful.